Hey Raven, guess what?
Can it wait? I'm trying to hang up our new pride flag.
I got some news. We're going to be doing a live show at the Pittsburgh Cannabis Festival.
I know. We've been talking about it on the pod. Are you going to help me hang this flag? I'm struggling to get it even.
Well, we got some new information.
That's nice. Now, are you going to help me or not?
The event's going to be presented by Terpen.
Wait, Terpen? They got some really good strains. I love their lemon G. It's really good for those stressful days.
Yeah, and their Double Bear stuff's really good too. I don't think I could have dealt with the food industry without their Primal Punch cartridge to help anxiety.
Well, what else is going on the day of the event?
The event hopes to highlight all the utilities of cannabis, from medical use to industrial use of hemp, for things like plastics, paper, and even clothing, to bioremediation and sustainability. There are even educational presentations on the bud stage for things like using cannabis to help trauma from a biopsychological perspective, how some cannabis vapes are made from supercritical CO2 extraction, and veteran advocacy, to name a few.
That's really cool, especially the veteran ones, since me and a lot of my family enlisted in the military. But is it all going to be educational?
No, there's going to be some fun with the advocacy to help normalize cannabis. Some bands are going to be playing, such as Truth and Rights, a Pittsburgh local reggae band, Sierra Sellers and Clara Kent, two R&B soul artists, and Manny's going to open for Clara. There's also going to be a pop-up yoga class that people can join in on, guided by Yoga 6 from South Hills, as well as a midday meditation on the solar stage.
Wait, are there going to be tables? And what about food? Isn't this a festival?
Of course there's going to be tables and food trucks. There's going to be a wide range of food trucks to satisfy all of your cravings. Tacos, Korean food, ice cream, and so much more. Plus live glass blowing, different CBD boutiques, and glass shops selling CBD bath bombs, edibles, lotions, oils, vapes, rolling papers, pipes, you name it. Even Curated Flame, the dope Pittsburgh glass shop, is the official cone sponsor, and we'll have some pre-rolls for the first 50 people to show up to the event.
The glass blowing sounds really cool. Do you think they'll make something for me?
Of course, who wouldn't want to see a one-of-a-kind piece get made right in front of them?
I have some friends that would love to volunteer. How could they do it?
Very easily. All they have to do is email the event planners at info@pittsburghcannabisfest.com. It's a great way to build a space for the Pittsburgh cannabis community.
Well, when and where is it so I can make sure I have it in my phone?
It's August 14th from noon to 5 p.m. at the Allegheny Commons Park North Side.
Awesome. Now, if you would, love, let me put this flag up. I can't feel my arms anymore.
This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts, Alex and Rayven Greer.
Hi, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
Welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
How you doing today, honey?
Doing really well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, do you want to talk about what we're smoking?
Yeah.
What we're toking?
We're trying out FarmaceuticalRX's honey again. And I've had this before and it made me kind of paranoid. So I was like, you know what, whatever. It's been a while since I had it. It's been sitting on my shelf for a bit. Might as well just get rid of it, right? I'll try it again, whatever. And honestly, it's not too bad. And like, I'm having an alright time.
Yeah, having a vibe.
I'm kind of congested though. I think that's just because I didn't take my allergy pills today and I was outside.
You did take your allergy pills this morning.
I did. Why am I all congested?
Probably because the pollen count's really high still.
Good grief.
I'd say it's pretty good. I really like it. It's the first time I think I've been on it.
Has it been?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
didn't know if I shared it with you the last time I had it or not. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think of it?
I like it. For me, it's a very fleeting high. It's not really super long, to be honest. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I can't remember what the highest terpenes were on it, but I'm feeling kind of calm and just collected. I'm feeling medicated.
Terpenoline's up there, I think like 0.5%. There were a little bit of myrcene, some caryophyllene, and the rest were really minute. Like there was a small amount of pinene in there, alpha pinene. Nothing super crazy.
What would you rate it?
I don't know. Let's see. What would I rate it? Probably like a 3. Solid 3 out of 5.
About 3 out of
It's
5.
all right. I still don't understand what all the hype is for why it's so expensive usually, because I got this this was an employee thing. But I don't know. It's all right. I mean, probably I'm not gonna be one of my go-to ones though.
Yeah, I'd give it about a 3.5. I'd say a 3. Just because like it's medicinal, but it's not. Getting the effects and everything for it was really nice. But it's definitely not one of those ones that I'm going to continuously get. Mostly just because it's gone down in price, but Pharmaceutical RX are about 60 an eighth.
Yeah.
And it used to be 70 an eighth when I got into the program, and I still don't think it's worth that price.
No, and some of the ones that are more expensive, like Prime's worth it. Prime has proven to me that they are freaking worth it.
And it could be just the specific batch, the strain they have. To give them the benefit of the doubt, it's not the greatest. I do understand why they were so expensive for a long time. Is because they put a lot of care and everything. Like Seven Hills, they do a lot of like all natural resources and everything for it, allegedly. I don't think they were worth it. And when we were first in the program, they were so bad. They're always moldy. The quality was just so bad for the price that like the r/PA medical marijuana banned it for 2 years of anyone bringing up Pharmaceutical RX. Even people who were like bringing it up to do good reviews, they just shut them all down.
Yeah, because it was just, I remember it just being bad, and like I didn't want to run into that with Prime either, because like they were really expensive for the longest time, and this, that, and the next, and Rayven started getting it, and I was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna try it. And they honestly have proved that they're worth it more than I feel like Pharmaceutical RX has proved that they're worth it. But like Prime's concentrates were the first kind of concentrate I ever tried. They were amazing. It's just, I don't know. Pharmaceutical RX doesn't really have a whole lot going behind it.
No, but I am curious to try the #Pride cartridge and
the LGBTQ plus wax.
It's either that or LGBTOG.
LGBT, I think it was called LGBTOG. We just call it Alphabet Soup or Alphabet Mafia.
Libitica.
You know, whatever. It's like we just make up funny nicknames for some of the strains.
Can I do a little shout out that's not a Skittle kind of right now?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
So we said on the previous episode about how Instagram censors cannabis social media.
Yeah.
Our friend and previous guest of the show, Cadabra from Smoke to Smoke, their Instagram is currently in a shadow ban and a probation status right now for doing their little info cards on cannabis for quote unquote advertising. And I have to check if they finally updated the terms of service, so where it's like if it's federally illegal in your country versus illegal in your local area. Yeah. But they were telling them like, oh, even if it's medical in your area, that since it is illegal in federally across the state, that they were putting them on a shadow ban, which I don't get how they can do, but like Prime and a couple other multi-state operators for medical marijuana companies can literally advertise and show bud on Instagram.
It's money. Somebody's money is in somebody's pocket. And I told you the same thing when you first told me that. I was like, someone's money is in somebody else's back pocket. That is why they're allowed to do this.
So Cadabra found a social media page called Cannabuzz, and they're also posting on Instagram, not as much. They're going to be posting more on Cannabuzz. And because I found out of Cannabuzz from them, we're also on Cannabuzz now.
I need to check that out. You told me about it, and I totally was just like, yeah, I'll look into it.
I haven't posted anything on it yet, but I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But also a link to like Cadabra's page again, Smoke to Smoke. And there's a hashtag that they started called #SaveSmoke2Smoke. Because small podcasters like us and Cadabra and our friends over at Ha, it's a podcast. Social media is kind of like our lifeblood right now. If we don't have that connection, we kind of lose our audience and lose our way to generate new audiences.
Yeah, because that's the main way to be able to reach out. Like, yeah, we can still do what we're doing, like quote unquote old fashioned ways of putting up business cards, handing out, trying to like network in person. But social media is in some capacity, everyone's on social media.
And we do get that, like, it's hard for people to be on social media right now with everything going on, but I can't afford to. I want this podcast to grow so big that, like, we're traveling with it and doing, like, really cool stuff, and, like, to see other people across the country and even other countries if possible. But it's got to start somewhere, and the way for us to do this, I'm pushing through the social media stuff so hard right now.
Yeah.
So that was just a quick side tangent on that. I do have a Skittle this week, though.
Okay.
So my Skittle is Allie, aka Big Al, because we have two at work, aka Alex Andrano, sorry, on Instagram. Mostly because they're a really cool boss that I have. They're currently the assistant manager at the dispensary I work at. She's really cool. She's really nice and supportive about everything and very knowledgeable. But also is a big reason of why we're talking about what we're talking about, because the newer employee that we have is very, they don't have a repertoire of knowledge when it comes to cannabis to pull on. They just kind of know the basics and not like the whole like scientific breakdowns of everything. And they suggested and gave us the title, part of the title anyway, for this episode to talk about terpenes.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up one really cool thing is we have this one employee that we all kind of like make memes of. He's kind of become the dispensary mascot. Because it started because we couldn't find a stock photo of someone doing the ID card thing. They had to get in and like push a button and share IDs to the camera. So he did that, and then they did like one that stopped by for stopping by, and thanks for stopping by, and it kind of just downhilled from there. So there's one that they made today. There's two memes we did. We did Shauner things, and we got the whole team's faces on it, and my face is photoshopped on Winona Ryder's face from the Stranger Things season 1 poster. So I'm really happy about that. I was like, I call dibs on Winona Ryder's character. And then we did Sean Clues. So Sean's face is on Blue's face, and then one of our other coworkers is Steve. So they put him at Steve's face. And I was singing, Sean can do, Sean's good dude, we can do.
Oh my god.
I was having fun with it. We have like an entire wall break room just dedicated to the Sean memes.
We have so much fun over there.
And the thing is, our the HR hiring manager, we're like, hey, look, we do work here. Don't think we just paint rocks and make memes. And he's like, I don't care. You guys are like the most profitable store in the area. I don't care. Also, super cool shout out before we get to the terpene talk or Terp Talk. Can I shout out kind of what we were doing on Friday and kind of like talk about the numbers with donations?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I think we talked about it previously on the show, but my boss kind of asked if we could bring it up. So you live in Pennsylvania. If you do live in Pennsylvania, there's a couple of dispensaries in the state that are working with the Weldon project called Mission Green. Our dispensary, what we do is on the first Friday of every month, our company will actually match your donations if you donate through our dispensary. Our store raised $467. So that match is almost $1,000 almost. Mm-hmm. So that is amazing that we did that. Last month we did it was the first month that we did it. The entire state got like $70-something. So we crushed it.
Yeah, you did.
The other day. I'm super proud of our team.
I got $8.
You got $8. The entire store. That was you.
That was me. That was all me. I got shouted out in the morning meeting. Hey, Alex, getting those donations. I'm like, yo, look at me. What are you doing with your parents?
No, ignore me.
Oh my goodness. It's kind of hard. You're sitting right in front of me.
But
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the Weldon Project is very similar to the Last Prisoner Project. What they do is they use these donations to help with legal fees and paying lawyers to get people who are incarcerated for nonviolent cannabis charges out of jail, and especially in states that, they go rec and people are able to enjoy cannabis legally and recreationally, but they are still in jail for the same things that someone else is doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Or in states like Pennsylvania, where we're technically a 24/7 DUI waiting to happen because we're in a medical marijuana, because there's no way to test how strong it is in your system. So they're going to do a piss test and you're automatically going to fail.
Yeah, because any trace amounts of THC in your system is considered a DUI. You could have a full spectrum CBD gummy and just have trace amount. It's still a DUI. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, we have a law going through right now trying to lift that. So, and also every state of Pennsylvania, write your senators, write your local representatives.
I think it's State Bill 1167, if I recall correctly. Write your senators, because it passed the House and is currently just waiting to hit the Senate. I think it's going to hit them officially after the 4th of July holiday weekend is over. And so if we can do that, it'll grant a lot of care and safety for medical marijuana patients.
There are a lot of us in this state too. So there are a lot of us that are affected by this.
At least 4,000 Pennsylvanians? Or is it 40,000?
It's 46,000 last I checked or something like that.
Okay.
There are a lot of Pennsylvanians who enjoy the medical marijuana program.
Okay. So do you want to finally get to the meat and potatoes? Of the episode. So the biggest topic we wanted to talk about today is terpenes. So I have a couple of notes. Alex did a deep dive on it. I just have a couple shorthand notes while we got busy at work. So can I introduce what they are and then see what you have? Versus it?
Yeah.
So terpenes are naturally occurring chemical compounds found in plants and some animals. They are responsible for the aromas, flavor, and even colors within vegetation. In terms of cannabis, terpenes are what makes certain strains smell or taste different from others. Some of them even have therapeutic properties. And you heard us talk about this, like linalool, limonene, and all that jazz.
That's what we kind of base our reviews around and stuff like that.
Exactly. So what was that pretty close to what you found? Because you did a whole big breakdown with science terms and stuff.
I did. So because I find this kind of stuff fascinating, and I just like having an excuse to do research on the internet, because I don't know, I find this stuff fun. I used to do it as a kid. But so I went deep down into what they are, and my definition matches yours. It's what gives different plants and different types of different strains of cannabis the smell that they have. They're used in household products. Some are used in makeup. Some are used in the relaxation spa kits that you get at Walmart or Bath and Body Works.
Yeah, there's a reason why lavender is in a lot of sleep aid stuff.
There's actually a lot of it also ties in with aromatherapy. There's actually a lot of scientific evidence behind aromatherapy, how it triggers different reactions in the brain and stuff like that. So it's not all pseudoscience stuff like some people like to believe. And also why different teas help you for whenever you're sick and stuff. It triggers immune responses to help boost your immune system, to get rid of those to get rid of stuff that's not supposed to be there. So terpenes are all of these things that seem to they do all of those things, but they also have different effects on people. So they're everything. I will preface this with, we are still continuing to do research. A lot of this is as isolated terpenes instead of how they work in cannabis. A lot of this is still theoretical, but we're doing a lot of studies, just that are going on right now too, with how these affect and help people.
The hardest thing with it too is the fact that because of the one specifically in cannabis strains, there's so little research done, and it's an uphill battle to get research started because of the Schedule 1 that it has in the United States.
Yeah, so it makes it hard. But even with essential oils, if you study essential oils, those aren't illegal, and they have the same terpenes as cannabis, so things kind of transfer. But more research is just needed to solidify all of these. So research Yeah, theoretical. Sorry, I lost my place in my thing. So, cannabis itself contains more than 150 different types of terpenes. Now, I'm not going to go through all 150. I doubt anybody would want to hear me do that.
We have 5-hour-long podcast episode,
and nobody wants to listen to that. I have ADHD. I don't have that fucking attention span to sit and write all those notes. So I don't remember how many. I think it's like 7 or 8 of the top terpenes you're going to find in your everyday cannabis strains in your medical dispensary or recreational dispensary, wherever you are located, or just, stuff on the street.
Well, usually the stuff on the street isn't lab tested, so you don't get those results.
So you have no idea, but it's still there. So, again, my definition there of terpenes, they're naturally occurring compounds that are found in the trichomes of female cannabis plants. Trichomes are those sticky, translucent glands that cover the surface of the bud and give it the kind of frosty look. Whenever you pull it out, they're also super sticky. So like when you touch it, your fingers kind of stick together. That is the trichomes, which is where these terpenes originate from. They help enhance the plant's attractiveness to creatures while deterring others that could harm them. Several different terpenes attract bugs, like linalool is a terpene in plants that attracts. It's sweet, so the bugs come to it, they pollinate it. There was one called grenolol, which repels insects or herbivores that might try to eat the plant. And many factors can affect what kind of terpenes grow in cannabis, just like any other sort of plant. Perfect example, when you go to the farmer's market and you buy citrus fruit, and it might not seem as sour as the ones that you got like last week. The water might be different, like you might have gotten different amounts of rain, some different kinds of runoff. The farmer might have had to change fertilizer because something was out.
It's just even the age, like how ripe the fruit is sometimes.
Exactly.
Too.
So the same thing happens with cannabis. And they are what we call volatile compounds, which means they degrade over time. You can lose them in many of the ways that cannabis is extracted, like with CO2. That's why we're seeing a lot more live resin stuff. So this is stuff that still has these active components, and you don't lose as many of the terpenes, and you don't have to add them back in later. That's a whole different thing that we can talk about later if we want to. So let's get into like the nitty gritty of what they are and which ones you'll find in cannabis. So the first one is my favorite, and I love it so much, is limonene. It is the third most abundant terpene in cannabis and is the most prevalent terpene on earth. Fun fact, it is found in a lot of citrus fruits. Your lemons, your citrons, your oranges, your grapefruits, anything citrusy, you're going to find limonene in it. What it does in the body, it's good for anti-anxiety, antacid, anti-nausea, anti-diabetic, antibacterial. It's a good antidepressant, anti-inflammatories, anti-cancer, antifungal, and immunostimulant. So in my notes here, I kind of highlighted which ones that I know that I use them for patients that come in looking for stuff. Is the anti-anxiety. It's a nice uplifter without making you kind of racy. And it's an antidepressant. It kind of stimulates, the inhalation of limonene vapor increases the serotonin and dopamine levels in like key regions of the brain associated with anxiety and depression. So they work the same way that like serotonin reuptake inhibitors that are antidepressants work in your brain, but it's natural, which is super freaking cool. And that's the way the antidepressants work. So like, I don't know. This is just really fascinating to me.
And it's ways to help like people with PTSD and anxiety, like those who get their medical cards for these. Sorry, these are ones that I always recommend to people with the mental health issues. This has got to be high in limonene is the one that I usually will have. Now, if they have anxiety, I'll stay away from terpinolene a little more, which is also helps with it. But like while they use cannabis, I should say.
Or if you have someone like me who has treatment-resistant depression, because I think the qualification is 10 antidepressants in a year. I was on 13 different ones in a year. None of them worked. They all stopped working. So I have treatment-resistant depression. So I think they also lumped it in with like situational depression. But my anxiety, also same thing. I was on different anxiety medications, and this helps in a way that just is kind of like natural for our body because we have an endocannabinoid system. So everything just kind of fits together. We have a very symbiotic relationship with cannabis, and it's beautiful. It's unknown though how this actually works with these terpenes. Like we said before, we need a lot more research to be done on this. But some of your common strains that are going to have limonene are Trainwreck, Sour Diesel, Super Lemon Haze, OG Kush, Bubba Kush, and Dosey Dos. I tried to get like a collection of
Some
East
big
Coasts and
names.
Wests. Yeah. So if you see something similar or these are parent strains, you can kind of predict, I guess, what the terpenes are going to look like on these guys.
It usually 9 times out of 10, if it's just lemon in the name.
Lemon something, most of the time you're going to have limonene. There are some exceptions though.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's not always like, 100% don't use the strain name for 100% accurate, but more often than not, you're going to have high limonene in some lemon named strains.
Yeah.
Because that's the power of pine sol, baby.
Pine Sol has limonene in it. That's how you get that nice smell.
Lemon scented GameStops.
Lemon scented GameStops. So moving on to my next pinene. I gave it away. My next terpene is pinene.
So that's the power of pine sol.
That's the power of Pine Sol, baby. It is also found in pine needles, rosemary, and basil. It's most common terpene in the natural world. There's so many trees. There are pine trees everywhere that have. That's why they smell this way. It could cause adverse anxious reactions in people with anxiety. Mm-hmm. I love to throw this out here. I've heard my pharmacist tell people, just when we're talking in conversations and everything, definitely, if you have an anxiety diagnosis, please, this is why you need to talk to your pharmacist, because pinene can make it worse.
And that's just, no, sorry to interrupt, but this is why I always tell people to keep a weed journal, because we get a lot of new people in the program that do have anxiety. And my thing is, do you get anxiety with cannabis? And they're like, I've never used cannabis before. So I'm like, okay, what you're going to do is keep a weed journal. I'm going to make some recommendations. I'm going to start you slow on pinene. We'll slowly increase it. Just try to figure it out. If you start feeling a little racy at low levels, mark that down. And no, you can't do pinene.
Like, it's an amazing terpene if you can do it. It's because it helps with alertness. It counters actually the short-term memory loss associated with THC. It increases.
But that doesn't help my applesauce brain.
No, that doesn't. I'm sorry. But it helps with focus. And bronchodilation is a big one, because people with asthma, it helps your asthma. You had that song wasn't lying to you. It does help with asthma. It's a bronchodilator, so you can get more air into your lungs.
Ooh. Actually, can I bring up a little quick side tangent?
Yeah.
I think it's prime. There's a couple other states that have inhalants in their medical program, and there's talk that we're actually going to start bringing cannabis inhalants into the state.
That's so cool. That makes so much. Oh, that's so awesome.
So prepare for those, and those of you who have asthma that are in the medical marijuana program, you might be seeing some inhalants that are high in pinene for you
that
to
is
help
so
with this.
Awesome.
Because I have a patient who has COPD. Yes, that has like that lung issue.
Yes.
So I want to be. This is one of those things that we're like, dude, you gotta try it.
Here, I found this thing, and now we have it. Some of the common strains that those inhalants might be derived from would be Jack Herer, Blue Dream, OG Kush, Trainwreck, White Widow, and Strawberry Cough.
Jack Herer. Herer.
I say it Herer. Jack Herer.
Herer.
How do you say it?
Herer.
God damn it! How stoned are these people?
That was his name. Jack Herer is named after a cannabis activist.
What? Oh, shit.
That's his name.
Well,
that was in Disenchanted.
Shit.
Or Disjointed.
What?
Yes, the guy's funeral where.
Shit.
That's
Jack my God.
She was talking about how he has a name straight after him.
Yes.
That's a little activist in the cannabis world.
I was not aware.
Yeah, that wasn't just a TV magic.
Dude,
bit.
I don't mean in disrespect. Rest in peace. Your last name is so fucking weird. Herer.
You sound like trying to be like Tyler Perry's Medea.
Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. Holy shit. My brain is horrible. Why did I not connect that ever?
I don't know. I connected that instantly when we
And
started
so-
carrying it.
And so until right now.
Do you want to take the break now and pick it up after the break?
Yeah, might as well.
So we got like what? We got 2 down, so 6 more terps?
7 more terps.
7 more terps? Alrighty.
Yeah. There was 9 of them. I undershot it. I'm sorry.
Alrighty, no, that's fine. We'll be back with future me on this day in history.
Woo!
And it's not all gay this time, I promise. Unless you want it to be. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary pals, and everyone in between and beyond. Welcome to another episode of On This Day in History. The day is July 5th, and this one's going to be a doozy with everything going on. We're all feeling pretty down and out of July 4th of this year. Like many people, we're boycotting it and everything, so we're also doing that on the 5th. And I thought it would be very adequate to start with this date, July 5th, 1852. Frederick Douglass, fugitive slave, delivers "What to the Slave is the 4th of July" speech to the Ladies' Anti-Slavery Society in Rochester, New York, condemning the celebration as a hypocritical sham. And I feel like that is a very adequate start to this. And I actually read it at work, and it is a very well written and eloquent piece. And I feel like it is very relevant to what is going on today. Moving forward, 1968. John Lennon sells his psychedelic painted Rolls Royce. In 1975, Pink Floyd debuted their album "Wish You Were Here," which is a great album to listen to while you're high. In Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Very big mouthful to say. An hour-long Gay News and Views begins on a local radio station. In 1980, the National Convention of Liberal Party of Canada adopts a resolution to include sexual orientation into the Human Rights Act. In 1994, Cracked Rear View debut album of Hootie and the Blowfish is released. Another kind of 90s stoner album to listen to. As long as you don't recognize as Hootie's singing like a goat. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And a little closer to more recent news, in 2011, the Serbian parliament approves a law to prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation. This has been on this day in history for July 5th. Going back now to the second half of Smoking Out the Closet. And we're back.
Hello.
So, what's the next terpene are we on, honey?
We are going to be talking about caryophyllene.
Cool. One I really like, too.
Caryophyllene is also found in black pepper, cloves, and cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
The ones that I usually give recommendations of caryophyllene to patients are for pain relief, sleep aid, and muscle relaxants. Caryophyllene is also a good anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, and antioxidant. You can't have anxiety if you're sleeping. Some common strains that have a lot of caryophyllene are Girl Scout cookies, OG Kush, Sour Diesel, White Widow, Chem Dog, Bubba Kush, and Purple Punch.
I think we're selling all of that in our dispensary this week.
I have seen every single one of those in my dispensary. Myrcene, another one that kind of couples itself with caryophyllene.
That one is actually my favorite.
It is your favorite?
Yep.
Oh.
That myrcene's my favorite.
It is also found in hops and is responsible for the peppery, spicy, balsam fragrance in beer. It is also expressed in lemongrass, which has been used in traditional folk medicine for centuries.
I like lemongrass.
Myrcene, whenever people want, I usually think of what happens. Goddamn words, hard. Sorry.
Good.
Backing up. With myrcene, it is generally for relaxation, pain relief, and an appetite stimulant, and also sedation.
It's also a mood elevator.
Yes. It is also antibacterial, antifungal, and anti-inflammatory. I feel like a lot of terpenes are those. The common strains that have high myrcene are White Widow, Blue Dream, Granddaddy Purple, Northern Lights, and Grape Ape.
Oh, we haven't seen Grape Ape in a minute out this way.
This is probably one of my favorites up there. Terpenylene has become one of my favorites. Now that I know that it's not the terpenylene that's making me all like anxious-y.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up there as one of my favorites. But this is also another one of my favorites is linalool. It is commonly found in lavender, basil, indica strains, and over 200 different types of plants. Fun fact about linalool is that it's so common that even non-cannabis users still consume over 2 grams of it every year through their food.
Wow.
It is everywhere. It is an anti-epileptic, anti-anxiety, a muscle relaxant, antidepressant, a sedative, and a pain relief. I have actually a bottle of lavender essential oil spray beside the bed that I spray the pillow with before I go to sleep. That helps me sleep.
Because lavender is naturally high in linalool.
And I love lavender. Common strains that are high in linalool, Skywalker OG, the headband families, Bubba Kush, and the purple strains. So anything with the name purple in it. The next one is one I briefly talked about earlier, terpenylene. It is usually only present in very small amounts. This one is actually a lot more rare in cannabis, but doesn't mean it's not as important. Very good for pain relief and providing mental clarity, which is why I feel like it's so good with my anxiety. It's also an antifungal, anti-cancer, antibacterial, and a mood lifter. Common strains are Jack Herrera, Trainwreck, Golden Pineapple, the Lemon G cartridge from Double Bear. Specifically, the cartridge is high in terpenylene. Next one. Let's see, I have 3 more. So, the next one is humulene. It is usually found in black pepper, hops, wood, and ginseng.
Is it humulene or humulene? Because I pronounce it humulene.
I pronounce it humulene.
Hey, so we're gonna put that voice message thing in our show notes now because I didn't realize I learned I could do that here. If you guys are listening, let us know. Is it humulene or humulene?
Should we also put a survey down in by the show notes on which one you think it is with like the phonetic spelling, like the pronunciation spelling on there?
We could also ask what your favorite terpene is if you know that too.
Oh, we could do that for the thing.
No, we'll show you guys out on the next episode.
Yeah. Which one's your favorite terpene? But humulene is an anti-inflammatory and an appetite suppressant. It's also anti-cancer, antifungal, and antibacterial. It's very common in the headband strains, Girl Scout cookies, Gorilla Glue, OG Kush, Sour Diesel, and White Widow. Awesomeme, which I learned a lot about this one because I thought it was really interesting because I have allergies. And this one's going to be my buddy, but it's also hard to find awesomeme. It's found in mint, parsley, and orchids. It's an antiviral and a decongestant, which is great because I use a lot of Sudafed, and I would like to not use as much Sudafed because I feel like the Walmart's going to put me on a list. I just have allergies, I swear. I can't breathe. But it's also an antibacterial, an antifungal, and an anti-inflammatory, which is great for inflamed allergies like sinuses. Common strains that have awesomeme are going to be Strawberry Kush, OG Kush, Lemon Diesel, and Amnesia. Oh, we have Amnesia. I should probably get some.
Yeah.
And the last one, but not the least one, is Bisabolol. Nobody knows a whole lot about it. I just learned a lot about it. Doing research on this, which is why I love doing stuff like this because I get to learn stuff and share it with everybody else. But some strains that I have sold have it, and I'm like, I don't know what this does. I'm gonna be very honest with you. It is commonly extracted from German chamomile and is found in herbal teas mostly. It's a great anti-anxiety. It's in a lot of skincare products because it has skin healing properties, very restorative. It's an anti-inflammatory and an antioxidant, and also a pain relief. Common strains are AC/DC, and your headband strains are going to have it. So,
also, I think a lot of the transdermal pain creams are going to have strains that are going to use or you're gonna supply it from like that chamomile.
That chamomile is so
inside it, because that's what's helping it become a little more in like transdermal itself.
yes.
Not to shout them out for an advertisement, but GTI Rhythms Dr. Solomon's
Yes.
is really good with that.
It really is. I'm actually gonna put some of that on my knee when I get out of the shower because my knee's been acting up.
Yeah, I probably should. So my sprain isn't fully healed yet.
Stuff's great though.
Really is.
Cannabis is great. But yeah, that was my list of terpenes and what I thought was important for everybody to know and where they can be found in places other than just cannabis. So yeah, I had a really great time doing all the research and like typing everything up. I was having a fun time at work.
Nice. That's good. I have a couple of topics to bring up. So the first one is going to be kind of a Debbie Downer. And so I'm going to kind of be giving a trigger warning now. We're talking about the Patriot Front. And they've been in quite a bit of news lately. So if you are not looking forward to that, I'll just put in the show notes what I'll try to remember to put in the show notes of what time I am not talking about it again. So if you want to go ahead and just kind of skip that, by all means do. Or you can stop the episode here. We will not be upset.
No.
You have to look out for your mental health first and foremost.
Yes.
So I've already warned people that I work with that listen to the podcast, like, look, I know that you cut off social media completely. Don't listen to this episode because it's going to be a bit hard. So I got this from CNN, this article. It was written by Liam Riley. A large group of people carrying flags and shields marched along downtown Boston's Freedom Trail Saturday. According to Boston Police Department, a video footage of the group obtained by CNN shows the flags bearing the symbol of the white nationalist Patriot Front group. Police received a call at 12:30 p.m. that around 100 people were protesting walking on Congress Street towards the old State House and City Hall Plaza. Boston Police Department officer Kim Travers told CNN no arrests were made, nor was their route known, they said. The group eventually boarded a train and departed from the scene, the officer added. Social media videos posted online shows dozens of individuals clutching shields and at least 2 different flags, including the Patriot Front flags and the upside-down U.S. flag, which symbolizes that we're in need of help. We're in danger. It's usually when a flag is thrown upside down. Last month, a group believed to be affiliated with the Patriot Front was arrested after authorities said they planned to riot at a pride event in Idaho. And I'm not even going to say it's affiliated. It's the same fucking group. They're wearing the exact same fucking clothes. Like, it's the exact same fucking people. And yet no arrests were made. It was an illegal protest. If you want to fucking arrest Black Lives Matter for protesting in the streets, you want to arrest people for protesting the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but you won't protest these fucking literal neo-Nazis for marching down one of the historical parts of independence, fucking the Freedom Trail in Boston, Massachusetts, and you just let them go away scot-free while they go to the free City Hall to protest and actually throw shit at the building because they were showing 2 LGBT flags on the building next to the American flag, then you are a fucking coward, and you as an officer should fucking turn in your badge and gun now. I'm sorry, I'm not yelling at you. I know I'm looking at your eyes, honey. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just very,
you are very,
very pissed.
Yeah.
This whole thing's got me lit up like a fucking time bomb. Like, I want to make... I want to burn it all to the ground.
Start over. Just burn to the ground, start over.
Now, there's more talking about what this group wants, what they eventually did. But it's stupid that no arrests were made, even though literal neo-Nazis, and while everyone's like, oh, protection is free speech, protection, other rights, the moment they started damaging property, I think they should have been arrested.
Yeah.
Because eventually, basically what they said in the mayor of Boston actually called them out, saying they're fucking cowards. But eventually what ends up happening is basically like the Charleston riots. Like, there wasn't enough damage or anything to cause an arrest. But, the moment a black person sneezes at a protest, basically saying, stop killing us, arrest, beanbagged, bullet, tear gassed, pepper sprayed.
Fucking bullshit.
It really is. And it's part of the reason why we're not celebrating the 4th.
Fuck this country.
Really, like, it's and here's my thing. I'm not feeding into the narrative that we should just let it roll over and happen. I want to feed into the narrative of, let's just break the whole fucking thing and pick up the pieces and glue it together.
Let's start over.
Because I was thinking about running for local office in state college. I have now a bigger fire under my ass, and next fucking election season, I'm running for local office here in Pittsburgh. I don't care if I have to Uber to all the fucking meetings. I will fucking run. Because everything that's got to be fixed, it's got to start at the local levels. And a lot of people don't understand that that's where a lot of the biggest change is going to start, is in the local offices, because a lot of people don't run opposed. A little trans woman run as a Republican unopposed office holder, I can't remember what position, in her local government, and everybody just voted for her because it was in the Midwest and she said Republican. But her policies are like Vermont's Republicans, which are like, oh, I don't think we should be spending taxes on like as much stuff here, kind of thing. What original Republicans were like in the 60s and everything, like good Republicans, like, oh, I really don't want to like increase the education thing, so we'll try fixing it before we spend more.
Not Fox News Republicans.
Not Fox News Republicans. Not this Christo-fascist Republicans that we have now. Literally like, hey, can we like not spend as much money on the factories because they're polluting shit? Like, can we just fix it? Kind of like, let's fix it and not spend as much money on it, kind of thing.
Can I also just say it's never supposed to be a two-party system in the first fucking place? So can we just like fix that? Can we just like break that apart?
Let's be a parliament. Let's fucking follow Canada and Britain's example. Let's be a fucking parliament. Those work usually.
We are in the most expensive third world country to live in. The
You're
most
right.
expensive third world country. Fight me.
So like fucking the Bull Moose Party, like fucking Teddy Roosevelt, like those style Republicans, I'm okay with. They just like John McCain.
Mm-hmm.
He was the prime example of what I think a Republican should be. They just differentiate on politics. They don't really, they still believe human rights should be, a thing. And it's more of, no, we just disagree on how the money should be spent, how much government should be involved with certain things. And that's the thing that doesn't click in my head for Roe v. Wade, is because Roe v. Wade, that when it was okay, a lot of these people like who are Republicans are saying, oh, we don't need big government getting in our business. That's what the 14th fucking amendment protects, is the government not getting in your business. So literally when you had Roe v. Wade, it was literally none of the government, no matter small or big, can tell you can't, because it is under your privacy.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's protected. Now that that's gone, guess what? Now Big Brother and the government can basically put in a thing. And I'm like, why are you supporting bigger government? That's like one of the biggest things your platform has said no to.
1984.
1984 and Handmaid's Tale wasn't supposed to be a playbook idea. It's not the longest yard or gridiron. You can't take freaking ideas from that and use it in your actual own team.
Doesn't work that way.
You're goblin noises.
America's fucked.
But we got to fix it. And that's how we start, is we had a conversation like this at work. There's basically the two ways you got to fix it. And it's probably going to have to be both of them together at the same time. You're going to have to get in the local governments. You're going to have to actually work towards certain things. You're going to have to vote the right people in. That's going to be one way to change it. The other major change is like the Stonewall riots, the Boston Tea Party, even, for example, because 4th of July, as we're recording it, is literally tomorrow. The fucking Boston Tea Party, that was literally right. You literally have to destroy corporations, the government's property and shit to get this message across. And if you do that shit, be smart, be careful. And I legally did not tell you to do this.
Exactly.
Cover my ass right now. I legally did not tell you to do this.
We did not tell you to do anything. We are not enforcing any illegal activities.
But this is how we get shit done. And it's been happening all over the world at different points in time in history. Is you want to send a message to the big guy on top?
You destroy shit.
You destroy shit. You destroy something of importance to them, and then they're going to start paying attention. And a lot of people think, oh, what can we do? We're just poor. We're working class people. Do you guys forget the French Revolution and how we got this set up? I literally saw a guy on TikTok freaking remaking a guillotine. He took the blueprints and is just working out the kinks from the original blueprints and is making a guillotine. And here's my favorite thing is, the FCC is trying to get rid of TikTok right now because of all this fucking shit we're doing and banding together and spreading, the actual information.
Damn.
They're trying to cancel TikTok. And you know what? It's not going to stop TikTok. We're just going to move to different platforms.
Exactly. You cannot stop a revolution. It is fucking coming.
So I had an idea is if we all band together, we pick a day to do this. We pick a day to march onto the Capitol and we sing the song from Les Miserables, Can't You Hear the People Sing? That's going to send a huge ass message right there. And if it doesn't, guess what? Fire, baby. Burn. Sorry, I am way too much of an arsonist.
I don't know if I want you to publish this part. I don't want you to get in trouble.
I'll let it out. No, but that's the thing. Is it's. I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble. Mostly just because of the fact of it's gotta happen in one way or the other. If it's burn the system in itself and break it down from the inside out, or actually just see shit happening. And I've seen other people talk about it online, so I'm actually leaving this part out.
Okay.
Because guess what, baby? Free speech. If you want to pull that crap with religious shit, I'm going to pull that crap with this.
You're right, and you're speaking hypothetically too. If we're to fix things, these are the ways that it's supposed to happen.
These are the big ways to do it. Moving on to another topic. You want to talk about how Minnesota recently just got legal edibles? I'm sorry, what? I have not clearly been paying attention to the important things. What? Minnesota law. This is from Marijuana Moment, written by Kyle Yeager. Also, hi Kyle. We read your stuff a lot, and we're probably going to tweet at you we talked about this. Minnesota law legalizes THC cannabis edibles takes effect. Promptly gets pushback from key GOP senator who voted for it. What the fuck? So, a new law took effect in Minnesota on Friday that allows adults 21 or older to buy infused edibles with hemp-derived cannabinoids in small amounts of THC. The codification of cannabis edibles policy through the legislation, which also imposes regulations on the sale of Delta-8 THC products in a state without recreational marijuana law on the books, is a novel development, and one that led a key GOP senator to call for a rollback of the law, even though he voted for it. Good grief. For reform supporters, the policy change is viewed as a solid step in the right direction, clarifying that adults can possess and consume hemp-based edibles and beverages that contain up to 5 milligrams of THC per serving, with a maximum of 50 milligrams per package. 5 milligrams of THC is generally considered to be enough to give a person a moderate high, at least for infrequent consumers. But because of the products must also meet the state and federal definition of hemp, they are not allowed to contain more than 3% of THC by dry weight. The amount of infused food someone in Minnesota might need to eat to feel the effects could be a bit larger than comparable products in states where they don't impose a limit. The law, which Dr. Tim Walz, a Democrat, signed earlier last month, has generated some confusion. Senate Human Services Reforms, Finance, and Policy Committee Chairman Jim Abler, Republican, for example, said that he thought the bill only dealt with Delta-8 THC regulations and he suggested this week that the legislation could reverse the course on edible provisions. But House Majority Leader Ryan Winkler, Democrat, who had championed efforts to legalize adult use marijuana in the state, told the Star Tribune, which is, I believe, a local or a state-based paper in Minnesota, that the Senate chair's proposal to roll back the law was ridiculous, especially considering that Abler voted in favor of the measure. He's quoted as, he voted for it, he signed the conference report, Winkler said. This is a step towards a policy we strongly support. I don't know if this guy just didn't read it right. He needs new glasses.
Didn't read it at all. Like, what the hell happened? I don't know.
To be fair, I don't know how state government works with this kind of stuff, but I've looked at like senators and congressmen who literally like are in like the national scale, like for the state, who have to vote on legislative laws that affect everybody, and literally get the paper or like the proposed bill, and it's like 30 pages long, front and back.
Ugh,
it's like a big stack, and there's a bunch of scribble on the margins, and they get it like 10 to 15 minutes before they're supposed to debate it, and they have to read it all. Like, that's where you get corrupt bullshit passed in laws.
Yeah.
Like, and so it's I don't know if that's how they do it in Minnesota, but that's the only way I can think this guy didn't fully understand it. He either doesn't understand how weed works, or he just didn't read it. To quote the Simpsons movie, I was elected to lead, not to read. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this guy did.
I don't know. That's kind of crazy.
But hey, now in Minnesota, you can enjoy hemp-derived edibles at your leisure. I will say I have had some weed, like actual cannabis, marijuana, infused special brownies recently.
My God, you were
high off my keister.
You were gone.
So
my God, that was the day that I came back from the Pirates game from work. Holy shit.
So before we end this episode, I'll tell this little anecdote. So I get some special brownies, I'm not going to say where. And I eat it. I'm walking home from work, and I ate it about like 2 hours before I left work. And I'm walking home, and about halfway through the walk, which is about like, walk home is about like a mile to a mile and a half. So I would say about like half a mile at least. I start to feel it. And I'm like, okay, cool. This walk's getting real fun now, right? I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since lunch. And I knew, Alex, you were going to eat at the game. So I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just going to grab something with my tip money that day.
Yeah.
I got a little extra more money than I thought it was. And I was getting really hungry. And like, well, I got more than $10. So I'm going to go to Wendy's to treat myself. Because I had a really bummy day because I couldn't go to the Pirates game that was paid for by another the cannabis company.
Another cannabis company to take us to go to the Pirates game. We were in the box seats, and oh my God, that was fun.
But so I go to Wendy's, and the entire time I'm at Wendy's, first off, I feel kind of like how I don't want to say Grand Theft Auto is accurate with this, but that like a little kind of like wavy feeling your character kind of does. I kind of felt like that for a minute. I didn't get like the weird color effects or like my vision got wavy, but like I felt like I was on a boat. And not like bad enough where I was stumbling, but like bad enough where I'm like, my equilibrium's not 100% right now, and this feels weird, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because I'm so high, I'm noticing the tilt of like the hill I'm on. So I get to Wendy's and I sit down and I'm like, am I leaning? And I look at the reflection in because I'm sitting in front of the window. I'm like, no, I'm sitting perfectly straight up. Is this building leaning? And I keep forgetting it kind of technically is. It's not perfectly level. And I'm like,
you're just like hyper aware of fucking everything.
I'm just hyper aware of how I am in a chair that is not it's either the chair or this fucking building is not level. And I'm hyper focused.
You're
on
like
it.
fucking Morty in Rick and Morty. It's not level. You think that's gonna get it level, Morty?
A bubble.
A bubble.
I literally took one of my coins and like put it down next to me and watched it roll to the other side of me. So I'm like, okay, it's not perfectly level, and it's bugging me. So I'm trying to ignore
Listen,
it. I'm
it's Pittsburgh. Everything's on a fucking hill, okay? Nothing in here is level.
I know, but I was so high, it was bugging me, okay? And it bugs me sober a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So I think
same. When I was downtown and in our partner's cafe, fucking trimming, I was staring at the trimming because I was trying not to be on my phone because I didn't want to kill it.
It's not
It's fucking it's not level. Not fucking level. Downtown Pittsburgh.
But no, it was a lot of it was just kind of like hyper focusing on it, and I'm trying to ignore it. And oh my god, can I just say the strawberry frosty is so good high.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh.
So I had a strawberry frosty and
yeah.
a large spicy chicken Asiago sandwich with onions and pickles added to it.
Yummy.
So I get home and I'm like, I am so fucking tired and high. I feed the cats real quick and I just crawl into bed.
Mm-hmm.
Bear whines. I open the door for him. I leave my phone on ringer and I'm like, you're drunk. And you're like, no, I'm not. We're texting the entire time.
The entire time. I tell her I'm home. I'm coming up the steps. And I'm like, boo boo. I come in the door, lock the door, come in the bed, bed in the bedroom.
And you smell like a fucking brewery. I am not kidding, folks. They were so drunk. I could they could burp and I could light their fucking belch and turn it into like a human, like little personal torch welder.
I had not been this drunk in a very long time.
You haven't been that drunk since we got engaged.
This is like college level Alex drunk on a Friday night.
Yeah, and the worst thing is I'm slowly starting to fall asleep. They messaged me. They were in the apartment. I'm like, okay. I turn my ringer off. And then next thing I know, I just fall asleep. And next thing I know, I just like, boo, I'm home. Huh? Bam! Jumps on top of me. I'm on my side. And I'm like, you smell like a brewery. Get the fuck off me.
And I just wanted cuddles.
But yeah, it was a fun night. We got really high. You got really drunk.
I got really drunk. I also got crossed for the very first time.
Yeah, because you did dabs and
I did dabs and shots and was drinking beer. And my goodness, I think tonight's sleep will be the final of the recovery. That was fucking 3 days of recovery. God damn it.
Yeah.
Drinking so much water, too.
Before we sign off, I just want to say, everybody, please be safe. Please be smart. There's a lot going on politically and socially here in the States. Just please be safe.
And take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. And I know this episode's probably been a little hard for some people. And I know that I kind of did a whole lot of let's start a revolution thing, but that's probably how we're going to have to figure out one way. We're either going to have to take power one way or the other.
Yeah.
And that's how I unfortunately see it going down. But please be safe. Make sure you looked after your loved ones. Make sure your loved ones are looking after you. And just make sure you're with your family. Found or blood or half blood, half found like mine is. Once again, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Alex, they, them pronouns.
And cheers to another episode.